What's up, Packer fans? Happy Saturday. Welcome into the Pack-A-Day podcast. I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. I know everyone's in a little bit of a state of unknown right now, right? There's a lot going on in Green Bay, and there's not really any perfect way to surmise what is happening, what's going to happen, who's going to figure this all out, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, everything like that. But what I wanted to try to figure out today is who's the person or persons that can ultimately solve this issue that's going on in Green Bay. And right now, it seems like it's sort of Aaron Rodgers versus the Packers front office, or at least it was. Now the Packers front office is reaching out, trying to go above and beyond to say, Aaron, we want you back. We're willing to do anything. Please come back. We screwed up. Just come back and we'll make everything good. And Rodgers like, you know what? I'm good in Hawaii right now. We'll see what happens. I'm not ready to commit to anything. So how do we go from this to perfect harmony between Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers? And to me, frankly, there's only one person for the job. And that's the person that, again, frankly, has turned this Packers franchise around over the course of the last two seasons, over the course of the last 2 years. And that's Matt LaFleur. And I think for the most part, Matt LaFleur is getting the credit that he deserves. Listen, this is a head coach that came in that front office people around the league, that league sources, that people who were talking to the media said, whoa, what the hell is Green Bay doing? This is not a coach that's ready to be this is not a coach that's ready to be a head coach in the NFL. He's never been a head coach at any level. He's been promoted way too fast. He wasn't even that good of an offensive coordinator in Tennessee. What are you doing bringing him in to try to fix Aaron Rodgers and, be the guy that's going to captain this ship in Green Bay, that's going to bring Green Bay back to the quote unquote promised land? He's been nothing short of phenomenal. And he had to originally handle the entire situation of, well, you can't come in and be a coach of Aaron Rodgers, and he's too young. And how is he going to relate to Aaron Rodgers? And Aaron Rodgers is going to want to come in and he's going to want to do everything his way. How in the heck is Matt LaFleur going to come in and be able to relate to him and be his coach and say, hey, here's what we're going to do, and get buy-in from Aaron Rodgers? Guess what? It could not have been better. And it could not have been a better hire, and it could not have been a better person for the job to get Aaron Rodgers back on the track that he was, back to his MVP play. And I know a lot of people have pointed this out, and I know it's been out there in the ether, if you will, but what's sometimes being lost in the shuffle is the fact that when Jordan Love was drafted, Aaron Rodgers had multiple injuries, had missed multiple parts of multiple seasons, had not played at the same MVP level. His play on the field went to, had a team that did not end up going to the playoffs. Mike McCarthy was fired. And even in 2019, when Matt LaFleur came in, there were still some signs that, hey, Aaron Rodgers can still be successful, but MVP Aaron Rodgers is behind us. And I think that Matt LaFleur did a tremendous job in 2019 of saying, you know what? We're going to bridge the gap from Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers to Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers. And it goes so unstated to just how hard of a situation that is. We've seen coaches, Josh McDaniels is a great example of this, but there have been numerous situations where the coach comes in, regardless of quarterback, and says, here's my system, learn it, here's how it's going to happen. And if Matt LaFleur, I fully believe this, if Matt LaFleur would have come in and said, Aaron, this is the system we're running, I was hired to run this system, we're going to run this system, you need to learn it now, it would have been a nightmare. And he never would have got that buy-in from Aaron Rodgers. But he came in and said, hey, what are you comfortable with? And that is a massive, massive ego check to say, I was just hired as head coach of the Green Bay Packers. Aaron, what do you want to run? A lot of people would not have done that. And many people might say, you know what, who wouldn't do that? That's a smart move. Of course you come in and say, Aaron, what works best for you? But when you are, 35 years old or whatever, 37, 38, whatever Matt LaFleur was, and you come in and you're anointed the head coach of the Green Bay Packers and you're given carte blanche to run this franchise how you want, not a lot of people would have said, you know what, we're going to do what you want to do instead of what I want to do. And Matt LaFleur deserves a ton of credit for coming in and saying, Aaron, what do you want to do? I want to hear what makes you comfortable. And we saw in 2019 what was basically this Frankenstein version of Mike McCarthy / what Aaron Rodgers likes to do, and some hints of what Matt LaFleur wants to do. And then in 2020 in the offseason, for whatever reason, after the pick of Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur was able to get Aaron Rodgers to buy in 1,000%. This is the offense. I need you to run it this way. And there's 0% chance, in my opinion, that if he didn't meet Aaron Rodgers halfway to begin with, that would have happened. But he met Aaron Rodgers halfway. Then Aaron Rodgers met him the other half and said, you know what? Let's run your system. Let's see what happens. And voila, you 13-3 for a second consecutive season, another NFC championship. Aaron Rodgers is playing back at an MVP level in what most would deem a very quarterback-friendly system. That's not a taboo term. That's not something that says, oh, it's, the training wheels are on and Aaron is being babied in the offense. Everyone in the league should want a quarterback-friendly offense. Matt LaFleur developed that, and now you have a quarterback-friendly offense with one of the most talented quarterbacks in the history of football running it, and it worked to perfection. And you had an amazing running game, you had an amazing wide receiver, a tight end that stepped up, a fantastic offensive line, and that offense was darn near unstoppable. And Matt LaFleur deserves a ton of credit from getting Aaron Rodgers to a point where he was really good. And as Aaron Rodgers would point out, his down years were better than most career quarterbacks' best years. And he's not wrong. But there was a decline in Aaron Rodgers' play. Matt LaFleur comes in, NFC Championship game, MVP, Aaron Rodgers is back. And remember, when Aaron Rodgers talked to Kenny Mayne, this was not, I've got a lot of problems with the coaching staff in the front office, or I love my teammates, I love the fans, but there's still a bunch to be worked out. I love my teammates. I love Jordan Love. I love the fans. I love the coaches. This is a divide between the front office and Aaron Rodgers. And if there is one person, in my opinion, that can get that back on track, it's Matt LaFleur. And Aaron Rodgers may be upset with the front office, but as I've mentioned before on here, the interactions in a given season between the front office and Aaron Rodgers ultimately aren't that much. And you might say, yeah, that's the whole crux of the problem. It should be more. Aaron Rodgers should have more say. Or some of you may say Aaron Rodgers may have less say. To each their own. But for the most part, even if he has more say, the interactions between a Brian Gutekunst and Aaron Rodgers through the course of the season just isn't that great. Once the draft and free agency is done, what does Aaron Rodgers want say over the practice squad? And I'm not insinuating that he does, by the way. He doesn't. Does he want say over, maybe the sixth wide receiver on the roster he'd like to be communicated with? Sure. But for the most part, it doesn't really matter all that much. If Brian Gutekunst and Aaron Rodgers aren't on the same page in the course of a season, Aaron Rodgers is trying to be an MVP quarterback, win football games, be on the same page with Matt LaFleur, and go out and win. Brian Gutekunst is trying to do his best to acquire talent to make sure that they're in the best position to do so, both in the short term and the long term. Their paths are two totally different paths. And again, that might be one of the issues that have made this an issue in the first place. But now that the draft and free agency is done, they can coexist without really needing to coexist all that much. It's Matt LaFleur that is going to have the most influence and impact on Aaron Rodgers. And it's Matt LaFleur who has met Aaron Rodgers halfway on multiple occasions in the past. And one of my favorite Matt LaFleur moments, just for a brief second here, when all of this talk of can Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers coexist? Will Aaron Rodgers work with Matt LaFleur? All of that stuff in 2019 that went on ad nauseum for seemingly forever. When Aaron Rodgers first was upset the first time, and you saw him screaming on camera at Matt LaFleur for something that happened, that could have been a breakdown in their relationship, right? Matt LaFleur could have fired right back and say, go sit on the bench, I'm the head coach, whatever. How Matt LaFleur handled that in the post-game press conference was nothing short of fantastic. If you, I don't even know how you would find this, but I remember it as clear as day. Matt LaFleur gets to his post-game press conference, and one of the first questions, if not the first question, was about how, why Aaron was upset, and was it an issue, and, was there a divide between the two? And he looks at everyone deadpan, dead serious, and says, yeah, you haven't heard Aaron and I aren't talking anymore. And then he cracks a smile, and he said, shucks, man, or something to that effect, and said, if you're telling me that my MVP quarterback, and I'm paraphrasing here a bit, but my MVP quarterback was upset because we didn't convert on a big third down, and he's pissed off because he's that competitive and wants to go out and win, give me that quarterback every day of the week. That's the quarterback that I want running my team. And that was a moment for me where I knew he gets it. Matt LaFleur 1,000,000% gets it. This is a guy who has not lost back-to-back games in his first 2 years ever as a coach. Not as a head coach of the Green Bay Packers, ever as a head coach. He didn't coach college. He didn't coach high school. This is his first time ever as a head coach, and in 2 seasons has not lost back-to-back games. He has handled that transition from McCarthy to LaFleur with class and with ease. He has got Aaron Rodgers to buy in to his system. He has got him playing at an MVP level. He has got the Packers back-to-back NFC Championship games. Is he without flaw? Is he 1,000,000% perfect? No, there's definitely some play calls and some stuff in both NFC Championship games that you'd like to have back. I think most people point to the kicking the field goal on 4th down late in the game. I've gone through this before. I would have gone for it as well. No questions asked. I would have gone for it in that situation. Matt LaFleur was an incomplete pass away, and Kevin King actually defending a play away from having that potentially work out. They kick the field goal. Instead of down 8, they're down 5. They get Tampa Bay in a huge third down situation. Tampa Bay throws the ball. If Kevin King can make a play on that play, instead of grabbing the jersey and having this much jersey, or if the call just doesn't get called like the rest of the calls in that game, Tampa goes, incomplete, has to punt the ball to Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers has the ball down 5, a minute plus left with a timeout. What more do you possibly want given the situation that you were down 8 in the 4th quarter with a couple minutes left, down in the red zone, 4th and goal, right? I would have went for it. I'm not defending it. I'm saying that I understand the call, even if it's maybe not what I wouldn't have done. The odds that Green Bay wins that game in that situation are very, very minimal. And if they can get one more incomplete pass, they have an opportunity to go down and win the game at home. Minute and a half left, Aaron Rodgers at your quarterback with a timeout. That's as best of a scenario as you can get. Now, Kevin King didn't pay it off. He held. They got called for it. Tampa Bay gets the auto first down, end of game, end of story. Green Bay goes home. It happens. But if you add up the course of the last 2 years with Matt LaFleur, especially again with his overall lack of experience as a head coach at any level and what he's done in 2 years, there is nobody from Mark Murphy to Brian Gutekunst to Aaron Rodgers to Mercedes Lewis to Aaron Jones to Devontae Adams to anyone else that I trust more at this point than Matt LaFleur. And there's nobody that I think can get Aaron Rodgers back to Green Bay, happy to be here, willing to go out and fight for his guys and willing to go out and play for another championship, more than I think Matt LaFleur can pull that off. I don't know if it'll happen. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers will be back this upcoming season. I don't know if the divorce and the divide is just too deep and Aaron Rodgers is completely bought into the fact that he's not going to play for the Packers again. And if that's the case, there might not be anyone that can salvage that. But if there's anyone at 1265 Lombardi Avenue that can salvage that relationship, that can get Aaron Rodgers back to Green Bay, bought in, ready to go win a Super Bowl, and if there's anyone that can rally the troops and focus on what they can focus on, get everyone on the same page, everyone back, galvanized together, fighting for the same mission, if and when Aaron Rodgers comes back, to me, it's Matt LaFleur. We'll see what happens. We have a long way to go. I'm sure there's going to be a million more podcasts. Myself, Locked On Packers, the Underage Packers podcast, everyone else that owns any sort of Green Bay Packers podcast, news, etc. This is going to be a soap opera that continues until we have finalization on where Aaron Rodgers is going to be in 2021. But I truly and fully believe if Aaron Rodgers is back in green and gold, ready to try to win another MVP and another Super Bowl, it'll be very much due to the efforts and the previous success up until this point and the relationship that Matt LaFleur has built with Aaron Rodgers. I trust Matt LaFleur to get that done more than anyone else. And I trust the future of the franchise, and whether that's with Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Blake Bortles, Kirk Benkert, anyone else. I trust Matt LaFleur with that responsibility a millionfold over. That's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for listening. Appreciate you as always. I'll be right back here tomorrow. Make sure to check out Jason, Paul, and Mark on today's audio podcast. But until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.